Let's get into the Friday mailbag, the now world famous Friday mailbag. Technically, we got one email from Zanzibar and now it's world famous. Okay, let's get right into it. Remember, you can email info@davidpakman.com. You can also contact us via a number of other means, including Facebook, Twitter. Sometimes YouTube comments will be featured. You never know what you're going to have. But today we start with a message from Facebook, and it is a very important message. And that message is about President Joe Biden and the things that I choose to report on. And this individual says, and I'm reading this as written, I want to be clear. How much do you get from Joe Biden to say that? Really, how much for that's MISS, information? Really, how much for misinformation? Sir, please show me the respect of addressing me as Mrs. Information. Misinformation is extremely informal for our relationship, please. And of course, this idea that we are funded by Joe Biden or George Soros or the Trilateral Commission or the Illuminati or the Klaus Schwab Gates, who knows? Anyway, we're funded by people who sign up on our website and by like YouTube ad revenue and a few advertisers we have. There's no secret there. We're very, very clear about exactly how we are funded. Next message is from Andrew. Andrew wrote in with a suggestion saying, David, try some honest journalism. I am pro-vax, but no longer pro-COVID shot. I understand you have to make this political or keep it political because you have an audience to pander to. But please don't mistake what you do for authentic journalism. I see you, David. Remember, I never claimed to do journalism. I claim to do commentary, which is what I actually do. The very disturbing lack of media literacy in this country leads to messages like this. But more importantly, pandering on the vaccine, I have to say the things I'm saying because of my audience. I've been very, very clear. The first vaccines seemed to prevent infection and transmission. As the virus mutated, the vaccines became less and less effective at preventing infection and transmission, to the point where my understanding of the latest data is that the newest vaccines don't prevent infection nor transmission, but they are still effective at dramatically reducing the odds that you end up in the hospital or dead. I've never hidden that from the audience. I've been very clear. So I don't know. Email someone who's actually doing the things that you say I'm doing. I'm getting quite bored with it. Here's someone who writes in like 5 to 10 times a week. They go by CAD. CAD wrote in and said, by the way, right away going into their degrees, reeks of either dishonesty or some kind of low self-esteem. Okay, CAD writes in, yes, I am highly educated with multiple degrees and probably smarter than some of your audience members. I love how you mock people and how they talk because it's so hypocritical. You are the one who made me do a deep dive and become Republican. Thank you for that. I contribute to society with my job helping others. I don't read articles and then throw BS out for an hour and a half with no pushback. You're not as smart as you think. Anyway, do you ever watch yourself on your show? You've got to be so smug because your large teeth and mouth movements are so gross. Side profile, blah. That's the vomit emoji. Blah. Who the hell would ever go out with someone so pompous as yourself? They'd have to constantly stress from being corrected. You're so feminine, and your pronunciation is hysterical. It's cringe. Many think you progressives are out of your mind and ruining what was good about this country. Go watch yourself. You are one ugly dude. So before you get on a platform and mock others, look in the mirror. What work of yours should be valued besides mocking people? I guess that's a statement, not a question. You know, I used to get upset about messages like this because they're criticizing so many things about me. And then one of the kind of awakenings I had was I thought to myself, you know, I watch lots of different things. I've never written to anyone that is the host of any show I watch ever. And if I did, I would be embarrassed to send messages like this because they're so bizarre and out there. And so then I imagined, what kind of person would even send a message like this? What must their life be like where they have either the time or the idea or the interest of saying, I'm going to go over to my computer or pull out my phone and write something like this to someone I don't even know? And then I realized how sad the lives of the trolls must be. And then I stopped worrying about them. I actually kind of just feel bad now. And I've spoken to some other people about it and they who do what I do, and they've sort of come to a similar position. And it really is sad. It really is sad what must be going on in someone's life to think to write something like that to someone else. Anyway, let's get into some of the more substantive stuff. Andrew from Oregon wrote in with an interesting message. He said, one effective question to ask anti-vaxxers. Hey, David, longtime watcher, love your work. As COVID has seen a recent uptick, and it doesn't seem like it's going away anytime soon, the debate over preventative measures continues to rage. I've found a really effective way to stump anti-vaxxers is to ask them, what group of experts informs your COVID views? They may point to cherry-picked data devoid of context or individuals who share their view, but never a collection of experts. There isn't a university, a hospital, or scientific body of any sort they rely on. Every time it seems to provoke a moment of self-reflection on the veracity of the source of their information, and I find it's a great foundation to build from. Yeah, this is an interesting idea because often the science deniers will say, ignore everything all doctors say except this one radiologist who's commenting about vaccines despite it being completely outside his or her area of expertise. And the question is an interesting one because when you say what group of experts, they often will say, well, you really can't trust immunologists. No, you have to trust this one person. All the other immunologists are wrong. Or you can't really trust pulmonologists because they mostly are lying about COVID. But this one pulmonologist has gotten outside of the bubble. It is a good question. And I think only with some people, only with people who are most open to having their views examined, would it have an impact. But it is an interesting idea because it's not about expertise. It's about finding people that already agree with them and then saying, here's who I'm going to listen to. And I've met people personally during the pandemic who early in the pandemic said, these are the three people that you can really trust. During the pandemic, those three people's views have changed as informed by data and science. And then the people who used to go to them say, they're no longer trustworthy. Here's the other people I now trust. Well, it's not that the people are less trustworthy. It's that you no longer agree with the things that they're saying. And it is something I see quite often. PK wrote in sort of a tongue-in-cheek response to that guy who called in recently and attacked me for being not that tall. And PK wrote in about David's height and weight. It says, Dear David, I am 5'8" and weigh 165. That obviously gives me a 15-pound intellectual advantage over you. I'm sorry, sir, but that's just the science. Thank you for your time. Yes, and obviously this individual outweighs me by 15 pounds, but it's 15 pounds of brain matter, certainly. I have to make a correction, and I'm glad Catherine from the UK is helping me do that. I wrongly stated the other day, in passing and as a complete joke, that the coleslaw at KFC is vegan. Catherine wrote in and said, hey, David, watching the video about Bolsonaro in Florida and was keen when you mentioned the coleslaw from KFC being vegan. I'm in the UK where the slaw is not vegan, so I had a look. It's not vegan in the US either, unfortunately. It's vegan in Canada, I understand, though. Perhaps there is hope for the rest of the world. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know anything about KFC coleslaw. I remembered that producer Pat once told me the KFC coleslaw was vegan. Pat has no recollection of that. So I don't really know where I got it, but I don't go to KFC and I'm also not vegan. So it ended up being sort of a moot point, I guess we would say. Oliver wrote in about the phenomenon of they. Oliver says, hey, David, have you noticed that many, especially on the right, are increasingly using the term they to define political opposition. For example, they want to silence us. They want to sexualize children. They are the elite. Is this just a symptom of seemingly populist rhetoric with those on the other side thrown into the one basket, i.e. the elite with no room for substance? Or does it boil down to something else entirely? That's Ollie from Scotland. I don't think they know what they mean. You know, so I've had conversations where I'm doing it too. It is an interesting shorthand. Right-wingers who call me, let me be precise. Sometimes some right-wingers who call me will say they are not allowing us to investigate the origins of COVID. And I'll say, who is they? Is it Democrats? And they'll go, well, no, it's not really Democrats. No. Is it the media? Is the media preventing anybody from? No, it's not really the media. Is it, I don't know, like, is it Marxists? Because that's an often used trope. No, it's not And then you see they don't even know who they is. So as a rhetorical technique, I do think it can sometimes be useful to say to those with whom you are speaking, who is they exactly? It's not Biden. It's not Hunter. It's not Fauci. It's not, Anderson Cooper. Who is it exactly? And some of them are slicker and they will be more prepared and they'll say something like, I say they because it's the establishment. It's no one person, but it's the total atmosphere created by the, okay, all right, I see. But it's a good question. What do you mean by they? I think it's a useful technique. Email in info@davidpakman.com. And please come on over to the bonus show. You can sign up at joinpakman.com. You can get instant access, and it's an extra show every single day for our website members. You can use the coupon code 24 starts now at joinpakman.com.